Red, a Nottingham Forest podcast brought to you by Nottinghamshire Live. Hello, welcome to Garibaldi Red as we look forward to a big game for Nottingham Forest Women at the weekend when they take on one of the giants of English football in Manchester City in the FA Cup at the City Ground, which is obviously a big one to look forward to. And to discuss the game, we're joined by Forest Women manager once again, Andy Cook. Andy, are you well?
Yes, very well, thank you. Thank you, Matt, and thanks for having us on.
No, not a problem at all. Not a problem. We'll do a couple of plugs for the game. It's on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and tickets are £5 for adults, £3 for concessions, and £1 for kids. And I'll repeat that at the end. How are you feeling about it? I guess there's been a lot of excitement amongst your squad for a while, and you've had league games, but now you can finally concentrate on this one. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we're like you said, you've summed it up there. Really excited to start and to just to get down to the City Ground on Saturday and get warmed up and yeah, just get the game going. To be honest, yeah, we have a sort of tough week before, and we had the game on Sunday against Stoke, and then we've got a game Thursday night, and then obviously we've got the game on Saturday. So yeah, the recovery time for the players is going to be interesting, and yeah, they get to rest and recover by going to work on Friday after a night game on a Thursday night, and then turning up at the City Ground to play in the Garibaldi and try and beat Manchester City. So yeah, it's just exciting. We're really excited for it, and all the girls are buzzing to get going.
I didn't know you got a game on Thursday. That's a nightmare. Are you
Yeah,
playing? I don't want to tip your hat too much, but are you playing the reserves, or how can you go about it?
No, so we have a really good squad, to be fair. So we've been planning this week now for a few weeks, and so we've got 3 games in 7 days. Sunday, Thursday, then Saturday. So we've we've rotated things around. We know where we need to be and what we need to do from the 3 games. And yeah, I mean, most importantly, the league fixtures are the important ones for us. We want to get 3 points on that Thursday night against Sheffield FC. And yeah, then we've said that the FA Cup tie is it's kind of a free hit for us. We are very much the underdogs. All the players again amateur. I mean, if you look at the back line of ourselves, you've got our goalkeeper Emily Batty is currently studying to be a neuroscientist. We've got Olivia Cook is a lawyer, a student training to be a lawyer at Sheffield University. We've got Charlotte Greengrass, another student at Loughborough. Lindsay Harkins works in sales. Charlotte Steggles is a quantity chartered surveyor. Sorry. And then Haley James, who's a lecturer. So that's our back line. And then Man City's back line all play for England. So we know the levels that we're at, and we're just excited to go and play against them. To be honest,
I suppose on paper it's like in men's football, a Premier League club playing a League One side. But from what you're saying there, is it more like a Premier League club playing a non-league side where it's painters and decorators and accountants and bankers in the FA Cup normally?
Yeah, 100%. And this is what I think, trying to get this across to people has been a bit of a difficult one because, people see the title of Manchester City and Nottingham Forest and just go, well, it's Premier League Championship or WSL, National League as we are in our level. But actually, the gulf between us is exactly that. I've said it, it's the equivalent of Manchester City men and Pep and all the boys coming across here to the City Ground. And for whatever reason, the likes of an Alfreton Town or an Ilkeston are playing at the City Ground. That's the level that we're at, really. Every single one of the players has got a job or a student or doing something away from football. They train 3 nights a week for Forest, and then play on a Sunday or a Thursday night and a Saturday this weekend. And every week and every session they do so much for the football club, and yeah, I couldn't be more prouder of the way they apply themselves, and everyone's wanted to be involved this week. And you can imagine there's going to be a lot of people that, yeah, they'll be playing Thursday night, rotate things around, and then they might have to rest and recoup on Friday, and then some of them will play Saturday, but a few will be on the bench. But just to be involved in the game is fantastic. And yeah, it is. It's very much that David and Goliath type battle.
How did you go about the game then? Because Goliath beat David in the end. So how are you feeling about going after them?
So it's one of them things. When we heard about the tie, one of the first things I thought of was speaking to Gary Brazil and the guys from the academy here of seeing if we could train against the boys' academy teams. And we managed to do that, and we managed to get a session or two where we can train against the under-16 boys within the academy. And I would sort of say now on credit, thanks to Gary, Jody, Dan, everyone that's involved with the age groups, and all the boys that trained against us were fantastic. The way that they move the ball, the way they shift the ball is very close to sort of Man City women's team. Physically, it's they're close. The boys are starting to sort of grow into the body, and obviously, I think if we, some people might look at it and go, "Why playing under 16s?" But it's just pure genetics. If you played against an 18-year-old boy or one of the under 23s, physically we're nowhere near. Whereas technically and tactically we can be quite close. So it's a good leveler. We had a fantastic night with them. The boys were great, and we managed to get a lot from it. So we've done as much as we can in the limited time we have to prepare for this game, and yeah, we're quietly confident in our game plan and what we want from the game. It'll be a structured, pragmatic approach. And ultimately, look, we want to attempt to win the game. We're not just here to to turn up and to let Manchester City come and score 10. That could happen because they're all England internationals and foreign internationals, some Spaniards and everything else that's in the squad. But that's just purely because they train 7 days a week, play games, get paid, a weekly and a monthly salary to do what they do. Whereas, like I say, ourselves, we've got to work and train and play and do everything like that. So yeah, we're quietly confident. Like I think everyone would be in an FA Cup tie, whether it be men's or women's.
Do you have any worries about the players freezing on the big? I know obviously you played Derby at the City Ground and you lost, and I don't know how the game went at all. But there's a big crowd, a lot of people will be watching. Are you confident your players will kind of be mentally relaxed to embrace the game?
I think so. I think so. We've got players in the team that have played against Manchester City in the previous 2 seasons. That Amy West was a WSL player for Aston Villa last season. Then she left Aston Villa and has now got a job in marketing at Loughborough University. Becky Anderson, same again, played at Coventry United in the Championship and has played at a good level in a previous clubs. Lindsay Harkin has played at Donny Bells, has played against Man City several times. So we've got players in the squad that know what it's about and what it does. And ultimately, we you never know what until we start the game. But we've played at the City Ground before. We know what it's all about now. That little bit of comfort and that little bit of confidence in our surroundings now is going to help us. And yeah, like I say, that we had a session last night, spoke about what we need to do for Saturday and for Thursday. And yeah, the confidence that they've got in themselves and each other as a group is giving me confidence to say that we'll be ready for it as best we can.
Is the game is there quite a big element of spreading the word about the game? And you mentioned earlier the league's still the bread and butter and the big target. Is it a lot about promoting what you're about and the women's game in Nottingham?
Yeah, look, there's a few teams in our league. You've got, I think it's Bridgewater, who I think were previously Yeovil Town. They play Manchester United, and they're in the same tier as us, but in the Southern Division. Ourselves, obviously, playing against Man City. Huddersfield in our league are playing against Everton. So, the WSL sides are going down to the Tier 3 sides. And for all of us, I hope we give a good account of ourselves. All the clubs are in the same position. Amateur players, jobs, work career, all that kind of stuff. So I think, the bigger message for everyone is that of, we've got some very good footballers, and the distance between where we are to the top is only really a division, 2 divisions, but the actual gulf in the sort of the structure and the environments that we can provide is huge. More inclined to a non-league men's team to a Premier League men's team, so it's one of them. You just want all the teams, ourselves, the teams I've mentioned there, to give a good account of ourselves. And obviously in and around Nottingham, yeah, if we can, jump on the back of some of the success that Steve has had with the men and, the games they've had against Arsenal, obviously the game against Derby, I was here on Saturday for, which was fantastic. If we can jump on the back of that, euphoria around the club at the moment, it'll be fantastic.
Is it nice for you and your staff to pit your wits against Gareth Taylor, who obviously played for Forest and Wales, and his people? I mean, is that one you look forward to as a coach?
Yeah, you always do. You always do as a coach. I've worked against Man City previously when I was at Oxford United as head coach. We played against Man City in the League Cup when Oxford were in the WSL2, as it was called then, and we had a tough old day, a tough old night that night against them. And so I think at the time it wasn't Gareth wasn't in charge then. But yeah, to excuse me, to play against Gareth. excuse me, to play against Gareth and the staff that they've got there will be great. Obviously, an ex-Forest player, so he'll have a lot of memories of the City ground. I know there'll be a few people would make him feel welcome. Probably, I'd like to think that as a Nottingham Forest fan, they might give him a bit of stick, bit of Man City coach now, but that's just hoping we can get the edge on him a little bit. But yeah, it's one of those. They've got a fantastic side. He's got some unbelievable footballers at his disposal, and it'll be great just to try and pit our wits against them tactically, and see where we go with it.
Do you learn any lessons from that Oxford game? I don't know what the score was. It doesn't sound like it was pretty. Is there something you take out of it?
So we were 44 minutes. We were 0-0. Then we give away a penalty. We went 1-0 up, and then from the kickoff, we didn't really recover. We've played it back to our keeper. 3 or 4 passes. He's gone back to the keeper. She's got to play out. Then we've got to play long. We've given the ball away, and they scored 2. So within a minute and a half, we were 2-0 down at half time, and we were like scratching our heads, thinking we had brilliant 44 minutes, kept them at bay, and then we let 2 in, and the overall score was 6-0 on the end. The end of the night, they scored 2. They had a long throw. Megan Campbell, I think it was at the time, who's now at Liverpool. I might be wrong with that. Don't quote me on that. She had a long throw. Jen Beattie scored a couple of headers from those, and it ended up 6. So it was a difficult night, but similar situation to where we are now. And in terms of lessons learned, I think look, it's one of those. You've got to condense the space against a team like Man City. They'll play in a 4-3-3. They'll have one holding midfielder who'll drop in between the centre backs and the full backs. And they'll want to try and play through and round us. We've seen a few patterns that they might have. I think Lucy Bronze likes to go on the outside. Demi Stokes doesn't really overlap Lauren Hemp, and if these players are playing, we'll be looking at things like that. Lauren Hemp likes to get it to her feet and run at the fullback. We've got a few things that we want to try and work on to do that. We want to make the middle of the pitch congested, and make it as tough as possible. We've got to use what we have, which hopefully is our little bit of guile, a little bit of tactical sort of quality in there as well, and that what we potentially can what we can do to get over and round them. And I think that's probably the 2 things that we're concerned with as well, is how do we, once we get the ball, how do we go over and round them, because I think that's going to be the key to it. Are we gonna have 500 passes in their half? I don't think so, but we might be able to have 2 or 3 passes, get a good counter attack, and maybe nick a goal, and that's going to be where we are, and I think that's what we're planning for.
Getting some minutiae now, but a nice big City ground pitch doesn't help you then. If you're congesting the middle of the pitch, there's a lot of space out wide.
Yeah, you say that, but in terms of the detail we go into, so where we normally play Eastwood, and Eastwood out in the the north sort of west of the county, isn't it? Up there, the actual distance between the Eastwood's pitch and the City ground is actually only a yard and a half in. So City ground's a yard and a half wider, and the length of the pitch is only 2 yards longer. So it's not too dissimilar. So I made sure when we played against Derby, I actually did the figures for that, because that was one thought I had, that if we're playing at the City ground, what's the distances? How much difference is it? And actually, it's only 2 yards length and a yard and a half on the wings. So it's not too much, but as you know, those top players, they can make a yard and a half feel like 10 yards. So yeah, you're you know what you're coming up against, but yeah, it's one of them. They're just little bits that I've gone to in terms of the preparation to make sure that the players know that the City ground pitch, albeit it's a nice stadium, it's a huge stadium, and we're used to playing in a small contained Eastwood pitch. It actually isn't too dissimilar in regards to once you step over that white line, it's a few yards difference, but you've still got to try and contain them. What we keep saying is that there's only one ball, and the ball's the thing. If the ball goes in the net, you've scored. So we need to make sure that ball just stays out of there. So we can't be concerned with marking all 11 of them. Just the one that's got the ball's the most important one we need to stop.
After Saturday, then, what's the aim for the rest of the season? I see you're 5th in the league. And I forgive my ignorance. I don't know how many teams go up, but is promotion the aim?
Yeah, just one team goes up. It's a difficult one. So you've got 2 leagues you've got the north and the south of the Women's National League. So one team from those 2 leagues go up. So you could win your league. You play in a playoff and only one team goes up, which is something that, dare I say it, in terms of trying to grow the women's game, isn't really the cleverest of ideas. But I think that was somebody a few years ago might have come up with that, and hopefully in my opinion, they need to change that sooner rather than later, to be honest, to grow the game. So there's 12 teams in each league, so you've got 24 teams at this level, all vying for one spot. In one way, it grows it slowly and surely, but equally, there's a lot of teams in our league, including ourselves, and there's a lot in the south that potentially could easily make the step up in regards to infrastructure and things like that. So, yeah, it's the aim's promotion. It's tough because of the the results and the way that things have gone for us this season so far. But the aim's always promotion. It has been since I came in 2019, and yeah, we've had a couple of setbacks. Derby have started off brilliantly. Wolves have had a great start. We beat them in the FA Cup, and hopefully we can carry that form now into the league and continue that. So yeah, we've got after Saturday, we're actually away to Alnwick Town, in the League Plate Cup, the following weekend. So that'll be just a nice 4 or 5 hour journey up to Alnwick from Nottingham on the Sunday, and then back to league action against Fylde. So yeah, it's fast and furious from now till sort of the middle of May. Games every weekend, but that's why we want to get involved. That's what we want to do, and ultimately the thing for us is to try and keep everyone as fresh as possible. Make sure that the maintaining the fitness levels and the standards, and yeah, we'll see where we get to. But ultimately, it's taking each game as it comes. As much of a cliche as it is, but I think that's the mindset we have to have currently, because yeah, unfortunately, we've dropped 9 points. We can't really afford to drop many more. So we've just got to make sure we're going game by game. We're quite happy. I think this year we've managed to keep 9-10 clean sheets, so we're quite happy with things. But we know the standards we want are a little higher than what we've achieved so far.
Let me give you one open goals tap in then before the weekend. Give you a PR sell to tell people why they should come down on Saturday and support your team.
Well, if look, to come down to City Ground, normally would cost you a pretty penny in regards to your hourly salaries and things like that. Whereas coming to watch us is going to be £5 for an adult, £3 concessions, £1 for a child. Great family day out. You're going to see. It's not really a plug for Nottingham Forest, but you're going to see pretty much most of the England squad playing for Manchester City. You might be able to get to see, Gareth Taylor. There might be a few fans from the was it late 90s, early thousands can come and see Gareth Taylor and say hello to him again, and wave and thank him for his time at Forest. But then equally, there's a chance of a cup upset. And not to be over dramatic, I think it could be one of the biggest cup upsets in women's football if we knock out Manchester City. They started the season in the Champions League, currently flying in the WSL. I think they scored 15 and conceded 0 in the last 3 games, something like that. And yeah, we've got an opportunity to knock them out. So any fans and supporters that want to come down and help support us on our quest to try and do that will come and see a good, pragmatic performance from us and trying to get that 1-0 win like the blokes did against Arsenal, and I'm sure we can almost repeat it against Manchester City.
You mentioned Gareth Taylor there to team me up. I spoke to Gareth earlier, and I'll write that up for a nice piece tomorrow so people can read about his time at Forest, playing under a variety of managers from Hart, Kinnear and Megson. I think it'd be interesting. Some different characters there. So do read that. And everyone do get down to the City Ground on Saturday, 1 o'clock. Tickets are £5, £3 and £1. Andy, we wish you every success. No, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time and appreciate you having us on. Thank you.
No problem. And we'll see everyone soon.